Alright, I never thought I'd have to make a video like this, but after what I have been through these past few months, I would say that it's necessary for me to give my side of the story. So that's what this video is going to be about, what happened to me recently, or should I say these past couple months. Before I get started, quick disclaimer, this video is not intended to be harassment of any kind towards anyone. It's not supposed to incite anything. This is just me giving my side of the story. This is my First Amendment right to freedom of speech. This is also secondary to an injunction that I was reporting on, and because this goes into that, I'm going to keep on reporting. So this is my freedom of press, which is also in the First Amendment. For anybody watching, please do not send any hate, harassment, don't incite in any way to anyone that is involved in this video, because that is not what it is intended for. So, what happened to me? Well, I had 3 cases in court, and we're going to touch on that, but I do want to go over the backstory. There was an injunction against the Frederick County School Board, and there was a woman who was leading that injunction, and she collected somewhere between 44 and 45 names of plaintiffs that wished to join on. I was one of them. This woman told me that she would be writing the injunction, but she also obtained legal counsel for all the plaintiffs, and that he would be reviewing what she wrote. I asked to see what she planned to file prior to her filing it, and I never did. That was filed on February 1st, 2022. I read the injunction on February 3rd, and in my opinion, it was extremely poorly written. I was not happy at all. Aside from it being poorly written, there was no explanation of the evidence. The evidence that was provided had very sensitive material pertaining to minors that was unredacted, which is absolutely not okay with me. There were a number of plaintiffs that had no knowledge they were even a plaintiff on the injunction. So I sat back wondering, how in the world does this happen? I made the decision that I wanted to be non-suited from the case because I don't want anything to do with this. This is not how I would have conducted this myself with this injunction. If anything goes bad, I don't want to be involved in it. And there was also an issue of the attorney was not informing any of the plaintiffs of what his plans were. He didn't inform them of any risks. For instance, when Frederick County School Board asked for attorney's fees, nobody knew that. Nobody had any clue. And that's important, that an attorney informs people of what's going on. It was just bad. So after I got non-suited from this case, I thought to myself, well, somebody needs to report on this. It is a public matter, and I decided that I would report on it. I would go to the courthouse, and I would go into the courtroom and hear what was going on. I would obtain any of the court documents, and I would post that to social media. Alongside giving litigation updates, I was criticizing the attorney for his not so great past with the Virginia bar. I was criticizing the woman who led this injunction, and I was criticizing the injunction itself and how poorly I thought it was written. After all that, or while that was going on, March 16th, I filed a bar complaint against the attorney. That bar complaint consisted of unauthorized practice of law, failure to exercise due diligence, filing legal paperwork without authorization, failure to keep clients reasonably informed, violation of attorney-client privilege, and failure to redact private information in the pleading. I ended up getting hit with a no trespass order, a cease and desist letter, and right around the time that I made this bar complaint. Now, I never gave anyone any reason, or this woman in question, to think that I would ever show up at her house. I had no intentions of doing so. She claims she's in fear for her life, and it's utterly irrational because all I've done is criticize, and that's a First Amendment protected right. It seems that this woman might like freedom of speech unless it's criticizing her, in which, from how things have gone on, how things have transpired, I think it bothers her. If she's being criticized, she's extremely unhappy, and what I would say that she's done to me is considered as malicious prosecution. This video, it's body cam footage from the sheriff deputy, and it was from May 16th, 2 days after she talked to this deputy, who told her that he doesn't see anything criminal, he doesn't see any laws broken. She just wouldn't let it go, and she went to the magistrate and successfully filed a Class 1 misdemeanor complaint against me. She's claiming that I shared her private information onto social media. A lot of what she's saying to this deputy, she's not being forthcoming. She's misrepresenting the facts, and it seems like she's doing it with the intent to convince this deputy that they need to come and get me. The supposedly private information she is referring to is that I shared the no trespass order and the cease and desist letter to social media. Both those documents contained her home address as well as mine. I didn't circle her home address. I didn't have arrows pointing to it. It was just there. I wasn't going to redact it. Why would I? It was served upon me. The reality of this is that she filed it with the sheriff's department, making that public record. And I would argue that your address is already public record. She also claims that I shared a document with her private email on it to social media. What she doesn't tell this deputy is that she shared that document with her email to a Facebook group of over 700 members. Now, the courts have already established that Facebook is a public forum. It does not matter if you shared something just to your friends or if you shared something to a private group. If you published it to Facebook, it is considered public. Anybody that sees it can take a screenshot of it and share it. It is what it is. That's the way it works. So, I do want to play this video, but right before I get started, she also says that she doesn't really know me, which recently in court she testified that she has known me. She's known me since October 2021. But at that point, she's really just trying to persuade the sheriff's deputy. She also claims that I recorded her and her minor child and published it to social media. Now, I did publish a video of her. I'm not going to play it. And it depicts her saying some not so great things to an individual at a school board meeting. That meeting was on January 20th, 2022. But it wasn't me. I didn't record her there. Somebody else did, and I reposted it because I think it shows a lot about her character. It kind of impeaches her credibility, if you ask me. So this image here shows where I am. That's me at the school board meeting. This image, now she's on the top left-hand side. To the right, you'll see a man with, it's kind of hard to tell, but glasses and a blue mask on. That's the individual she was speaking with. Now, the person who recorded her is the man to the right-hand side in a tan-colored hat. Interestingly enough, that is none other than school board member Ellen White's husband, Brian White. And here's another image for you. Notice how I'm not there. You already saw the image where I was. It's not me who recorded that. But again, this woman has been making up stuff, and she just hasn't been honest or truthful. So this is just a very little thing, but again, it impeaches her credibility. So it's necessary. Let's go to this video and hit play, and we'll come back and we'll go over some of the things that she said in this video.
Hello.
Hi, is this Priscilla?
Speaking.
Hi, this is Deputy Tanner with the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, returning your call.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
What can I do for you?
I've had an ongoing situation for approximately 4 months.
Okay.
With an individual in the community. That individual is representative of a political party or faction. I don't really know what you want to call it. But that I do have a no trespass that I had you all serve on that individual a while back, and I also had you all serve that individual with a cease and desist letter. And that individual continues, most recently has published my private contact information by email, my private email.
Okay.
She published that on 2, as far as I know, 2 different social media platforms, as well as, I guess she was in a public place the same time that I was, and she's taking video clips of me. Okay. And my affiliates, anybody that's been seen with me, anybody that works with me in my organization. I do have a small business, and anybody that's part of that, she's doing the same thing too. However, the disclosure of the private information, most recently, that was my private email. And she routinely makes various social media posts that, as a matter of fact, one of them made me not even attend a public place, because what she conveyed through that post was violent towards rural deputies and towards the Frederick County school board meeting. So I didn't even attend that because I don't know this individual per se.
So what is her? And I'm just curious. What is her issue with you? How did you guys get? Let me turn that down. How did you guys get entangled into whatever's going on with each other?
We were part of the class action suit against Frederick County Public Schools.
Okay.
That's the extent of me knowing her.
Okay, so you guys were together on the same side or opposite sides?
We were, and at some point, she just wanted to be part of that. And that was fine, but at that point in time, when she decided to not continue to be part of that, she started making published posts of me in public places and videos. She sent me some very obscene, very lewd text messages. That's what I went to the magistrate about.
Okay. And what happened? What happened with that when you went to the magistrate?
Well, the magistrate said since those text messages did not say, "I'm going to hurt you" or "I am going to kill you," she wouldn't issue any kind of protective order. Although this person and I are frequently, and have been for the last 6 or 7 months, frequently in the same public places at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, unfortunately, as far as her being in a public place, and taking pictures of you, if you're out in public, anybody can take a picture of you anytime they want.
Right.
Right. You know, of course it's creepy by nature, and it's it's her right to do that if she wishes. Anybody can take a picture of me, you. Now, once we go into our own home, if they're taking pictures through our window, if it's from the street, our window's wide open, that's one thing. But if they're up on our property, or hidden cameras, that sort of thing, catching us in a state of undress, then we have an issue.
Right.
And
I
issue of her,
understand that.
Yeah, the issue of her publishing your private email address, while also creepy and uncomfortable, I don't think she breaks a law doing that. There is a code in Virginia called harassment by computer. It's a Virginia law. It is a class 1 misdemeanor, but it says that there has to be an intent to coerce, intimidate, or harass. And it says they have to communicate obscene, vulgar, profane, lewd, lascivious, or indecent language, or make a suggestion or a proposal of obscene nature, or threaten any illegal or immoral act. So just by posting the email, I don't see anything that would be any of that. I mean, she's borderline trying to coerce you into something. Of course, she's trying to elicit a response from you. Of course, and I'm familiar with her name.
I mean, my husband has even increased, security measures at our home because she does carry firearms. She's boasted about it, in group conversation. She recently even made a post on Twitter aimed at your all's deputy.
Right.
At a public school board meeting.
Yep. I'm aware of that one as well. She was not too happy. She was asked to not go in at a certain time. But
I mean, she knows
definitely.
where I live. She knows my address. She knows my email. Obviously. And it's not just myself. Like I said, it is affiliates of my organization. I have a charitable non-profit organization, and she is.
So let me ask you this: Have you received any sort of email because of that? Like, did her posting that email, did it hurt you in any way? Did you get any kind of like spam messages or threatening messages?
I haven't received any threatening messages, but since this was brought to my attention, I'm not certain when she did it, but since it was brought to my attention, my phone has been nonstop with stupid email type of spam stuff that it's definitely picked up in the last, I don't know, maybe week. And then I believe it was brought to my attention 2 days ago. Or maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe about 3 days ago, it was brought to my attention that she's put my email out there, and I kind of started putting two and two together, discussed it with my husband, and whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm going over some of the computer laws right now. I'm trying to find one that she may have violated, but I'm not seeing anything right now. I'm still looking.
I don't know if there's anything against this or not. I mean, she is the head or one of the heads of a political party.
I don't know if she's the head of a political party. I think maybe self-proclaimed.
She what? I'm sorry.
I said I'm saying maybe self-proclaimed. I'm not aware of it, but I'm not saying she's not, but. That's news to me.
There's a new political party faction. Not real sure what you want to call it, but as far as I know, it's registered and whatnot. It's legitimate.
Okay.
It's called the Frederick County Conservative Committee.
All right.
And she heads that up, or one of the heads of that. And I'm involved with another political affiliation. As are some of my associates. I wouldn't say friends, but associates, and she has come at their families, their spouses.
Yeah. So I guess what I would do in this case is you know, there's no laws that I can see that she's broken right now. Your email address is kind of like your phone number. I mean, anybody can get it. There's free websites out there. I can go type in your name and pay 99 cents.
She actually published a document that was sent to me. It was a document that was sent to me that I did have to share that with a select grouping of people.
Okay.
But she was not part of that grouping. That's what she published. She published the document with my email address at the top of it. But how she got that, I have no idea. It's not something you can go online and get.
So you had a document that you distributed to a certain select amount of people, and then she now has that copy of that.
Yes, sir.
Then you have a select amount of people that are friends with her that shared that document with her. Is how I would say.
Evidently.
I would say that I would say that you have, I guess in layman's terms, a mole. So
evidently, but I don't know these people. They're not friends or anything like that. They were co-plaintiffs.
Gotcha.
Other random people in the community.
Now, is this on like one of her social media pages?
Yes, sir.
Is that one of the final order from the school board? Because I'm looking at her page right now.
No, sir. Her Twitter, she has Twitter accounts under various different aliases.
Okay.
She also has YouTube channels under a number of aliases. And the first time that the publication of my private info was brought to my attention, that was on Twitter. And one of my board of directors members actually filed a report with Twitter regarding that, and evidently she got I don't know, I don't have Twitter, I don't know anything about it, but evidently she got banned or something for it.
Yeah.
Because it violated their privacy conditions or something. And now she has put the same thing out onto YouTube. And she has a number of YouTube channels, a number of Twitter and Facebook and all of those silly social media things.
Yeah, she's got a lot of time on her hands, it looks like.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, what's the document that has your email address in it? What kind of document is that?
It's actually a communication from Mr. Phil Griffin, my attorney, to address to me. It was sent via email, and the other people that were involved in that class action, for lack of better verbiage, but that it was a class action. The other people that were involved in that, I shared that with them because it was communicating what was needing to be done.
Okay.
But I'm not friends with them. I don't know. I don't even know them. They were just, like I said, they were co-plaintiffs.
Yeah.
In the case. But she was not.
Do you know?
At that point in time,
Do you know when she shared that?
Let me go back, if you'll give me just a moment. Well, I know when it was brought to my attention. I don't follow her social media. I don't have that much time. I don't follow her social medias and all of that. Let's see. Today is the 16th. It was brought to my attention on May 11th. So it's been, May 11th.
Gotcha.
In the evening time was when it was brought to my attention. And the communication that she shared, it says at the top, via email only from the office of Philip Griffin, and it has my name, has my email. Of course, he is an attorney, so it has all of his contact information as well. was not sent to her. It was not given to her. She was no longer part of this grouping at all. And I actually talked with the court clerk a few days ago because it was brought to my attention that she has been going down there to the court clerk's office, paying whatever per page fee that they have or whatever, and obtaining every motion, every order that's entered, and then contacting one way or another, contacting and harassing the remaining plaintiffs on that case. Well, of course, the court clerk said that's perfectly within her right. It is a matter of public record.
It is. Yep.
But,
well, as far as the
reaching out to these people,
as far as the Twitter page goes with the email, I'm not finding it as far as back in April, so I'm not sure.
No,
if maybe
they took it off.
Okay, so it's been
Twitter
removed.
Took it off. Yeah, after my board of director member filed the report, the little thing popped up on her Twitter that says this post violated our terms and conditions or something to that effect.
Gotcha.
So it came off of her Twitter, and I don't know what kind of rules that they have or whatever, where maybe that she couldn't use Twitter for a certain amount of time. So then she created this little video, I don't know what you want to call it, this little video that says that my Twitter was shut down, and she says it was presumably by me, which it wasn't, or my band of nitwits, end quote. And so she reposted the same documentation from Phil Griffin to me with my email address on it, reposted it through a YouTube video.
Gotcha. Yeah. I wish I could help you out a little bit more. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot that we can do at this point. What I would do, though, for your record, is just kind of keep track of everything she's doing. Keep screenshots, messages, and once she crosses that line just a little bit, or she walks on that line, you might be able to go to the magistrate and say, hey, look, she's stalking me and harassing me. Everywhere I go in public places, she's taking photos and videos of me. Granted, I know it's not illegal, but she's doing that. She's coming to every place that I'm at. And when you can prove a pattern of that, coupled with some sort of criminal act or borderline criminal act that she's done, you might be able to get a protective order, or I would say, maybe even a warrant against her if there's enough probable cause there. So,
well, and my husband is also a CIA agent, and his security team has been made aware.
Gotcha.
Of this situation. So, because the first time that I called you, the very first time I called you guys, I explained that to the deputy that took my report. He gave me, I guess it was like a report, because he gave me an event number.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to have to relay all of this and have all of this documented both on my end and, through your all's department, because now the damn CIA security team is involved in it.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't seem like it's, one of your deputies told me that she could come right here to my house and just sit in front of my house.
Yeah, and that would not be good for her. Do you have a trespass notice for her?
I do, but he says she can stand right there on the sidewalk all day if she does.
And she can. However, I think, her doing that just hurts her even more in the future. So if you just, document the date and time that she's there, snap a photo of it, and if she makes a constant thing of it, clearly we might have some sort of harassment where she's trying to intimidate you. So you could go to the magistrate and say, hey, she's been here, these amount of days, this stuff's going on online for this amount of time, and now she's coming to my house every day. She's, sitting in her car watching me and my family come and go, and, you know, she's harassing us, and I wish for her, you know, I wish for it to stop. I want a protective order. I don't want her to be within, you know, 300 feet of me. I don't want her near my house, that sort of thing. So I think if she does something like that, it's going to just hurt her more, and it's going to take her credibility away. So I think the best thing to do is to not retaliate, nothing online. No, I'm not saying that you did. I'm just saying to not even tell anybody about this, just to silently keep record of it and play the long game, right. if that makes sense. It's chess. Exactly she's playing checkers. She's making moves every moment, and you know, FOIA requesting documentation, putting this out, doing that. Yes. You're, you know, play chess and be smart and win the board. So that's what I would do.
Well, that's what I've been doing for almost 4 months. As I mentioned, several affiliates, associates, whatever you want to call them. That's exactly what we've all been doing. It's just not stopping, and it's progressively
and it sounds like
progressively getting more aggressive and weird.
And I would just be careful of who you send your documentation to. I guess I don't know if you sent it. I think your attorney sent it, right? And then she got a copy of it somehow.
No, he sent it to me.
Okay.
And I needed to communicate what was in that documentation. I needed to communicate that to the remaining plaintiffs. So I did, like I said, it was a small group at that point in time, but I did send that documentation to that small group, which she was not part of.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time, sir. I'll just, I just
and good
don't
luck.
want it to get ugly. Don't want it to get any uglier than what it already is now.
And just to let you know, there's nothing that says she can't come in and FOIA request anything that happens at your residence and anytime you call. So keep that in mind. And our dispatch puts in notes, and then we put in notes. I don't think she's made it to that point yet to figure out that she can do that. But that is always there. Just keep that in mind. So she'll say, you know, she'll be able to say, hey, look, I've got this FOIA requested. Our department only releases so much that they're allowed to, you know, personal information. They won't release addresses, and that's, you know, physical addresses, but they could release a certain block number, you know, hey, 300 block of, you know, Main Street, whatever it is. But she's well within her right, and you're within your right, too, to request records from a public entity. So just letting you know that, to keep that in mind, that she could eventually see that you called about this and then try to turn it into something. I don't know if she will or she won't. Maybe she's not made it to that point yet. So
I don't know her well enough to know what she would or wouldn't do.
Well, and I don't know her either. This is honestly the second time I've ever heard her name. I've, you know, heard it recently where she's, you know, has an issue with one of our deputies and the way he handled, you know, not letting her in to a building or something. Well,
well, she took that body cam, or not body cam footage, security footage. She posted that as well.
Yeah.
And added her own narration to it.
Of course.
So I don't know this person well enough to know what they would or would not do.
Yeah.
I do recall, you know, things that she has shared just in group conversation about her actions and the way she feels about things and the fact that she carries firearms and this, that, and another. And, you know, you just, unfortunately, we can't just, you know, say, oh, well, that person's just all talk.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Good luck.
Thank you. You have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, a lot of things in that body cam footage. You know, I'm going to do a couple videos talking about going more in depth on certain things, but I have to say this. It's, in my opinion, shows that this particular woman may not, in fact, be a supporter of the Second Amendment. And I say that because she says things like, I boast about having a firearm, or I have firearms, which is, first of all, untrue. I've never boasted about having firearms. I don't even tell people I have firearms. It's nobody's business whether I do or I don't. But it's the intention of why she's saying it, that I'm somehow a threat, if that were to in fact be true, that I have weapons or firearms. And it seems highly irrational. I mean, people have a Second Amendment right. And it's even more concerning if you consider who her friend is. This woman is friends with a delegate, I wouldn't be too far off, a delegate's legislative assistant who in this community runs a 2A group or organization, whatever you want to call it. What's going on here? I mean, this is gnarly. She talks about political factions. Like, who made this political? Well, this woman did. I don't understand why politics are involved. That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China, if you ask me. So I do want to go over what happened after this. Okay. 2 days after, so on May 18th, this woman contacts the sheriff's department a number of times for harassment and threats. Nothing must have come from that. I mean, she ended up having to go to the magistrate, and she somehow convinced them to file a Class 1 misdemeanor on me for using one's identity with intent to coerce, intimidate, and harass. And it's for the information that she said here in this body cam footage, the email, the home address. It's utterly insane to me. So 4 days after this video took place, this woman goes before a judge, and the judge is Mary Daniel. I'm going to bring this up because it's relevant considering the injunction against Frederick County School Board. Mary Daniel, the judge, is married to Bill Daniel, and Bill Daniel works for Frederick County Public Schools. He is the man that handled or decided upon every mask exemption appeal. He was mentioned in 2 of my videos. I presume she knows full and well who I am, but there's always a chance she doesn't. Like, I don't have any evidence she knows who I am. So Priscilla goes to this judge. In her petition that she wrote down, never makes a mention of a threat. Now, when it comes to a preliminary protective order or a protective order, there has to be violence, force, or threat. And there was none. However, the judge, when she granted the protective order, writes down, the petitioner indicates a pattern of direct and indirect communications intended to put her in fear and intimidate her, using phrases such as, and this is in quotes, take out, end quote, and using references to firearms. Very concerned for her safety and that of her children. When we had trial, and I'll talk about this again later, the take out reference was mentioned. And first of all, that never happened. But this woman is claiming that I said I was going to take out other political opponents. Again, I've never really been a political person. Why politics are being brought into this is it's skeptical. I don't understand it. And then using references to firearms, I have yet to see where that ever took place. And because it didn't. I don't do that stuff. Interestingly enough, the judge orders that I shall stay 500 feet away from this woman's house, which, no, okay, there's already no trespass, and I had no interest of going to this woman's house anyways. That's not the kind of person I am. I'm not the kind of person that does things like that. I might hurt your feelings with my speech, you know, and especially if you're like this woman and you and your friends are going out of your way to see what I'm posting. Mind you, I'm not tagging this person. I'm not sending this information to her. She is going out of her way, and her friends, to see what I'm posting. Well, I'm going to tell you what, if you're going to do all that, you may not like what you find. You may, in fact, be offended by my speech. It is what it is. But the judge also orders that I shall make no social media posts or comments or anything regarding this woman or her family members. Now that's a problem, and that's going to come in later. That's not what a preliminary protective order or a protective order is meant for, okay? Not only that, this judge exceeded the scope of her duties. She actually violated my First Amendment right to freedom of speech. For any of you that may not know, when we talk about harassing or harassment in general, speech needs to be directed at the person or to the person. You cannot infringe on someone's right to talk about people. I mean, if I were talking to my neighbor about this, am I going to get in trouble because I'm talking about this person? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. 7 days after this preliminary protective order was granted, this woman goes before the magistrate. Well, actually, she calls the sheriff's department again. And I mean, so much of our taxpayers' dollars are being wasted on this nonsense. So she goes before a magistrate judge and says that I violated the protective order by speaking about her on social media. Well, that warrants an arrest. So what she's actually referring to is someone else from a fake Facebook account. Now, they weren't trying to pretend to be me. They weren't using my images. They weren't using my name. How this woman convinced a magistrate that this was me, I mean, there's no way to know what was exactly said. But why this magistrate didn't ask a question like, what leads you to believe this is her? We're about to sign a warrant for this woman's arrest. What has she admitted that it's her? This is the account. And, well, she posted things, you know. It's Nicola Dowd. It was a Friday, 6:30 in the morning. It was school day. I heard banging. And then my doorbell was ringing. And then banging. My doorbell was ringing. And I woke up out of bed and I'm like, okay, what? 6:30 in the morning? You can tell by that knock, it's the sheriff's department. And that's not a knock like, hey, we have some documents to serve you with. That's a, hey, we're about to put you in some handcuffs kind of knock. At the time, my husband had already left for work. It was just myself and my son. My son doesn't get on the bus till 8:30. And I just have to bring this up. This woman that's doing this to me, or that did this to me, claims to be all about the children. Now, she's told me before she used to work for CPS, which that says a lot, in my opinion, but she claims to be for the children. Well, if I would have answered that door to those the deputies, what would have happened to my minor child if I was being put in handcuffs? I mean, I tell you right now, there's no reasoning with a deputy when he has a warrant for your arrest, okay? They're not just going to be like, oh, okay, you just turn yourself in whenever you feel like it. No, they're there to execute a warrant, and they don't care. They would have taken my son, sent him off to social services, and Lord knows whatever the process would be for me to get my kid back at that point. Mind you, this is a false arrest through and through. I didn't agree with the judge's order, but disobeying a judge's order is not how you challenge it. You have to go through the court system, which I was fully prepared to do. Someone else posted this about Priscilla on Facebook, and I got arrested for it. I was only, well, actually, let me go back here. I called my husband, had him come to the house, said they're coming to arrest me. At this point in time, I had absolutely no idea why they would want to arrest me. My husband came home, and the deputies came by a second time. I think it was around 7:30 in the morning, and we didn't answer the door. They left, and the reason, here's the thing. They have a warrant for my arrest, but they don't have a warrant to bust through my door or come into my house, all right? That's a whole nother ball game for a warrant. And so anyways, we got my son on the bus, and I told my husband, take me to the sheriff's department. I'm turning myself in. And I got arrested. And interestingly enough, I believe it's the same deputy, Tanner, that's in this body cam footage here. So I was sent to the adult detention center. I was only in there for about 20 minutes, no big deal. I didn't have to pay any money. I just had to show up to court. It was an interesting experience. Haven't been handcuffed in a really long time, so, you know, there we go. Now, we had a bunch of court cases, and I had paid a lot of money for an attorney, and what we did is we continued every single court date to be onto one court date. So a lot of these court dates were continued. But on August 2nd was supposed to be trial for the both the preliminary protective order and the criminal charge and the violation of a protective order. And the DA gave us an interesting email written by this woman to her attorney. Now, the attorney that she sent this to is representing her on the protective order. This is the same exact attorney that represented myself and the other plaintiffs on the injunction. Now, before I go any further, that's not good, okay? That goes against the rules of conduct, the code of conduct. That's a conflict of interest. This attorney should have known better. He should not have represented this woman. But again, keep in mind, I had filed a bar complaint against this man. And at this point, it's really starting to look retaliatory. That this woman's upset that I criticized her, and this attorney's upset that I filed a bar complaint against him. So this email from this woman is considered exculpatory evidence, meaning it's evidence that proves I'm innocent. And this woman is saying that she spoke to a Jessica Jenkins. If you've ever watched the school board videos, you might know who that is. Please don't direct any harassment or hate towards anybody mentioned in these videos. But apparently, Miss Jenkins, I mean, this is a 2-page email. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to read through all of it, but there's a lot of interesting things in here. Apparently, Miss Jenkins said that Christina, who she's referring to as me, is not the owner of the Facebook profile Nicola Dowd, which had a posting on May 26th directed at this woman by name containing screenshots of a private text message between Christina, that's me, and this woman. This email continues to say that Jessie Jenkins told this woman that she knows who the real owner of that Nicola Dowd Facebook page is. She's in contact with that person, and it's a Frederick County public school teacher. Apparently, this teacher's terrified of being caught, which is why you might notice that Nicola Dowd Facebook account no longer exists. When they found out, apparently, that the post they made resulted in me getting arrested, they were scared that their identity was going to be found by a subpoena for their IP address or something. The rest of the contents of this email, it contains a lot of targeting people who are mutually on our side, people that are on the board of supervisors that vote in favor of freedom. I don't know why she's targeting these people, but I will say what she would refer to as her associates. If you know who they are, you've probably noticed they've befriended a lot of what we would consider the enemy. And they've targeted a lot of board members that have always been on our side. I don't understand what's going on, what's in their minds here, but they're making it more and more obvious that they're just, they're losing it. They're losing it. So another thing I want to mention is this woman says she has raised approximately $9,000 in less than 3 weeks for her organization and garnered support from political leaders across the state. Now, is this $9,000 that is for her organization? Is she referring to raising money for the litigation against Frederick County School Board? I'm not sure, but I remember her making a post talking about if there's any leftover funds that she raised, that it would go to grants for 2 children. Now she's allegedly, I mean, I don't know, I don't know where this $9,000 that she's speaking of is actually coming from. But if it was from the donation she raised for litigation, why is it that she put it to an organization and not what she said she would do with it? If anybody donated money to that and it's for an organization, you by law are allowed an accounting of that money. I'm just going to say it right there. I don't know what organization this is. I don't know if it's a legitimate organization. That's going to take some more looking into. I can't say I'll cover a story on it, but it's going to take some more looking into. So, anyways, at the August 2nd court date, they dropped the violation of the protective order because as far as they were concerned, I never violated the protective order because I didn't. And the judge ended up recusing herself. It was Judge Daniel, conflict of interest, because who her husband was. I didn't ask for her to recuse herself. Oddly enough, this woman and the DA did, which is very weird. But they wanted more time, so they used that as an excuse, is what I take that as. So we ended up scheduling for the September 2nd was the trial for the protective order and the criminal complaint charge. We only got through the criminal complaint, and we had to reschedule the protective order because we ran out of time. But the criminal complaint was dismissed because the judge said, since this woman filed these documents with the sheriff's department, her supposedly private information was now a matter of public record. At the protective order on September 15th, this woman testified, admitting that there was no violence, force, or threat. I do have audio of that, and I will be publishing that video. Again, not for any harassment or anything like that. This is just me telling my side of the story. This is a freedom of press, because reporting on this, I don't want anybody to incite anything, harass any individuals. That's not what this is meant for. I have to really drill that in. And the reason why is because I don't know how far this woman might go again. Is she going to do this all over again? She might. I have no idea. And if so, so be it. But there's other stuff, updates that I will be giving you guys. I'm not going to say a lot right now in regards to maybe legal avenues I might be taking, but I will in the future. It's not quite time yet. So anyways, all three charges, the criminal complaint, violation of the protective order, and the protective order itself have all been dismissed. They've been dropped. And I'm back to being a free individual. However, there's some issues that I have. When someone gets a preliminary protective order, or a protective order in general, it has a direct effect on your ability to carry, purchase, even obtain firearms. That's a big deal. I don't think I would ever take a protective order out on someone simply because I am a supporter of the Second Amendment. And I don't agree with any form of a red flag law. I just don't. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I would say if somebody's willing to do something, I don't think a little piece of paper is going to stop them. I mean, if somebody's willing to commit a felony, are they really going to say, oh no, I was going to commit a felony, but now that I have this little piece of paper, if I violate it, I'm going to get a class 1 misdemeanor. I mean, I don't understand the logic in that. There were no threats, no violence, no force ever that I made to this woman. And all it took was a bogus allegation. And I lost my ability to carry my gun, my concealed carry permit. And not only did I have to turn that in, but they revoked it before I even had an opportunity to tell my side of the story, or as I would call it, exonerate myself. I'm either going to have to petition the court to see if I can get it back, or I'm going to have to refile for it all over again. And that's if I so choose to do so. these are dangerous things to be doing to people. And for what? Someone's free speech. We shouldn't be catering to these forms of delicate sensibilities. This is not okay. There are a lot of things in motion still. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but we got some complaints in on some individuals, and not criminal complaints or anything like that, but certain members of the court that did things they shouldn't have done. I can't say that anything will happen, but all I can say is that I exercise my right to petition my government for redress. So, this is where we're at. There are going to be more videos to come. I did request the transcripts for the criminal charge, the court date for that, and then I do have the video from the protective order hearing, which I will be publishing. I do have to do some redactions because this woman does this courtroom is public. Anybody could have gone in there. However, considering this woman might try to come for me again and maliciously prosecute me, I'm going to blurt her address out. Okay, I don't want to be back in this situation, but you know what, if I do and it's my speech, I'm prepared to fight, not physically fight, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, I'm prepared to fight for my innocence. This shouldn't happen. Anyways, so stay tuned. We will have more videos coming, and please, this video is not intended to harass, coerce, intimidate anyone. This is me telling my side of the story. And we'll leave it at that. Thank you.